Okay, welcome everyone to the Newell's second stream. This evening we're going to be following University of Birmingham's team throughout the evening, as they're possibly one of the stronger teams in this group. Their first match will be against Fragsoc, which will then be followed by KVGS Kittens, which will be a rematch of the previous tournament semi-final where Birmingham managed to beat KVGS Kittens. And then our final match of the evening will be Birmingham against Manchester Penguins.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really looking forward to these games, dude. I think the second and the third games are the ones I'm looking forward to the most, but Fragsoc are definitely a good team as well, and I think they're all going to be good matches.
Yep, so I think we're just waiting to get into game, unless you're already there and they have decided not to invite me.
I'm in the lobby. I'll ask them to invite you. We're still waiting on a few players, however.
Okay, that's fine. So, whilst we're waiting for the game to get underway, what are your predictions, the Sigalus, as to which way this game's going to go, our first match?
I feel like this first game is pretty heavily favored towards Birmingham. They're the second place overall in the season, and in addition to that, they finished second in their group last tournament. You know, there's definitely a chance for Fragsoc to knock it out of the park, but Birmingham are a great team, and you know, we'll have to see if they can continue their dominance in this next tournament.
Yeah, I mean, let's not forget that Fragsoc are a new team into the Super 8. They managed to work their way up from the second division. They've got some interesting players, and I know for a fact the Hench, he tends to favor Rumble at the moment. I noticed he's been playing a lot of Rumble games, and also Blitz as well, so it'll be interesting to see what role they put him in. And I think also two more of Fragsoc's more notable players are the Thing is Tough, who usually plays a lot of Jarvan. I know he is quite a good jungler Jarvan, and also Chubby Monkey, who's been very good on his Lucian recently. He's got a high win percentage. So I think those three people, the Hench, the Thing is Tough, and Chubby Monkey, are the people who I'm going to be looking out for on Fragsoc.
Yeah, I mean...
And then, of course, I mean...
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so the player that I'm looking forward to seeing how he does is X-Rift, the mid laner for Birmingham. And that's just because in solo queue in the preseason I came across him in solo queue and beat him twice in a row. So I'm looking forward to see if he plays a little bit better against these guys.
Yeah, I mean, I think my pick out for the Birmingham team is Shinji Senpai, who's going to be their support. Whilst he hasn't played too many games on Zillion, he has got a very high win rating. He's got 75% win rating. So I'd like to see if he's going to pick anything interesting out. I think if any of you have been following the LCS both in Europe and in North America, I think over the last couple of weeks, out of the championship pool, there's something like 116 champions that are available at the moment. I think 70 of them have been played at professional level. So there's a really wide range of competitive champions that can be used. We've seen LeBlanc come into favour recently. I know that X-Rift for Birmingham, he's been playing LeBlanc quite a lot, and he's got a 63.6% win rating on her. Kha'Zix is currently considered rather OP at the moment. And Synergy, also on Birmingham's team, is probably going to be in the jungler. He's had a 63.2% win rating on him. So it'll be interesting to see which champions are going to be banned out. I mean, what are your predictions? Do you think they're going to be do you think it's likely to be standard kind of bans out? So we're going to see kind of a Kassadin ban?
I think the bans will be relatively standard. The one exception I can think of off the top of my head is Syndra towards X-Rift, because I know last tournament of the Newell, he was playing Syndra quite a lot. So that's one thing which I wouldn't be too surprised to see banned out against Birmingham. Against Fragsoc, I'm not sure if there'll be any strange bans, but we'll have to see.
Yeah, I mean, I think also another interesting fact that I'd like to bring up is that with Birmingham, when you combine all of their ranked wins in total, and you add it up and you create an average across them, they've got a win rating of 54% across all of them. So they do win more matches than they play in, but I mean, I don't have the exact figures on Fragsoc because I don't have time to research them in particular. But I know that, I think, as we've said, Birmingham is the stronger team out of these two, but again, I think it's impossible to predict because we just don't know how much these teams have been practicing, whether they've been scrimming a lot. Because at this sort of level, when you are playing in a team with kind of friends that you know, a lot of it does come down to the communication. Sure, you can lose your lane and you can kind of be a couple of kills down, but when it gets to the 20-30 minute mark in a game, that's when communication really does be key.
Yeah, that's definitely true, and in terms of that communication and synergy, Birmingham, they were really good last split about closing out games, if I remember correctly. I don't remember if Fragsoc had quite that level of communication and synergy there, but it will be interesting to see if they can finish out games as well as Birmingham can.
Yeah, I mean, as I mentioned in our introduction, Birmingham's match against KVGS Kittens in last tournament's semi-final match, that went on for well over 40 minutes. It was an exceptionally close game, but in the end, I think it was Birmingham's communication that managed to close out that game. It was a bit protracted, but I mean, I also mentioned that there were some skillful plays by MT Blue Bears Sivir, and Sivir, whilst not necessarily being one of the more popular AD champions at the moment, you do tend to see at professional level Jinx, Lucian, occasionally Ezreal, depending on what type of composition that you're going for. But very few other ADs are being picked at the moment, so whether he'll be able to get onto his Sivir, it remains to be seen.
Yeah, I actually did a pretty in-depth analysis of Birmingham's game versus Manchester from the one of the tournaments over summer, and Birmingham had picked Sivir in that game, and whilst they did relatively well, especially in the laning phase, it didn't manage to go their way in the end because of some team comp issues that they had. So one thing I'm a bit worried about with Birmingham is making sure that they pick a team comp which is strong enough, because that was certainly something I've seen them fail at before.
Yeah, I mean, it's all well and good if you pick if all five of your players pick champions that they're comfortable on, and if they're a bit stronger on their more comfortable champions. But if those champions don't mix well, if you have two poking champions and then three heavy engaged champions, that's not necessarily going to work out better than you have the composition that's predominantly focused on sieging or poking or split pushing. You have to try and keep these strats in mind.
Alright, well, we are going into Champ Select now. I'm very excited to see if there's any interesting bans going on here. Dr. Mundo first. Can't say I'm too surprised by that one.
Yeah, I mean, exceptionally popular at the moment, exceedingly tanky. Not a huge surprise there. Singed, that is relatively surprising because you don't see it played. I don't think it's been played at all at LCS level.
That is very strange. Maybe we haven't done enough research on Birmingham, and that's some pocket pick they have, but certainly not a meta pick,
Well, I know that on Kuznya's most recent matches, he has played Singed once or twice, but I don't think that was anything particularly serious. And we see the Jarvan pick coming out. I think that's directly targeted at the thing is tough, or is it tough? No, it's Thou. The thing is Thou. These players do always pick really nasty names. It's like the LCS Challenger team, Tick, Trick, and Duck. They always pick mouthfuls. And we see the LeBlanc being the final ban coming out from Birmingham. LeBlanc being exceptionally powerful at the moment, can burst down champions, can even burst down tanky champions if she gets a bit of a lead.
I think it was Bjergsen saying something like she's the strongest mid laner right now, but no one knows how to play her perfectly or something like that. There's some comment about her just being the number one pick.
So we are still waiting on Fragsoc's final ban. They have Singed, Nasus. Nasus is usually a traditional ban in solo queue at the moment, because it can become exceptionally tanky. And then we have Kassadin.
Yeah, I mean, Kassadin, just what a monster. Got to get banned every game. He's the most banned champion in EU LCS, I think. Could be wrong on that stat, but
yeah, I've just done a bit of a research, and one of the reasons that Singed has been banned out was that Kuznia last season, he played over 400 games with him and had a win rate of 65%.
Holy
So
cow.
it turns out that he is exceptionally potent on Singed. Hasn't been playing it too recently though. So Singed has kind of fallen out of favour. It's not as strong, but if you're a skillful player and you have the mechanics, you can win on most champions. So we have an insta-lock coming in on Kha'Zix for Birmingham. We were saying just before that Kha'Zix is exceptionally strong. Synergy likes to favour it in the jungle. We'll have to see whether that's handed over to him. And Fragsoc have locked in Warwick and Ezreal, which I think is...
The Ezreal pick is a little bit strange to me. He's certainly not one of the most popular AD carries right now. A lot of people argue that Lucian can kind of do his job a little bit better than he can. So it's curious to see that they went for him. Having said that, maybe they want a little bit more escape, because Lucian is a little bit worse at that. His E is not as good as Ezreal's Arcane Shift, so... And especially against a Kha'Zix who's going to be trying to assassinate Ezreal really rapidly. It's a reasonable pick, it's just a little bit odd.
It's odd to have it as one of your first two picks. And then we see Birmingham locking in Leona and Lucian, exceptionally strong lane. Leona with so much crowd control that he has. And as you were just mentioning, Lucian kind of does what Ezreal does, but better in many aspects, and some not so much. I mean, Ezreal does have essentially a global ultimate that is able to clear waves at a distance. So we'll have to see what support Fragsoc are going to try and choose to counter that Leona. I'm going to guess a Thresh most likely, or possibly a Lulu. Those are the two main support champions that are seen to do well in a matchup against Leona.
Yeah, either one of those would be pretty good. And Lulu with Warwick is a pretty good combo as well, because you sort of jump in there, you knock everyone up. It's a good initiation tool. So I wouldn't be too surprised to see that. Also, if we get surprised and see Warwick jungle, Thresh Lantern with Warwick's ult is pretty good. Although it looks like they're going to pick Vi, so that might not be on the cards.
Yeah, I mean, Vi has been a rather... not necessarily the most popular jungler at the moment, but because of her ultimate, she can just focus down on one champion and just take them out of the fight for a couple of seconds. So I don't think that's a huge surprise. And Orianna hasn't been played too much recently in mid lane. You tend to see more of the assassin type AP champions in mid lane, kind of your LeBlancs and stuff. I mean, okay, LeBlanc has been banned, but yeah, Orianna's an interesting pick.
It's definitely got great synergy though with the other champions on her team, because again with the Warwick, if he jumps in, he's a really good instantaneous ball delivery system. You hear people throwing that around a lot, and he's one of the best because it's a jump that is instant.
Yeah,
and then you've also got Vi,
as well.
She can get in their faces and bring the ball to the enemy team, and it gives some options having both of those champions supporting the Orianna. She can come at them with the ball from a variety of angles, so that's something to look out for.
Yeah, and it looks as if Fragsoc are going to finally lock in Thresh, which, as I was saying, it is one of the better picks against a Leona down in bot lane. It's interesting that Birmingham have gone for a Renekton, which looks like it's going to be a Renekton versus Warwick in top lane. I think that's just going to be a heavy farm lane, most likely, because both have rather good sustain.
Yeah, I mean, Renekton has the advantage of being manaless. Warwick, if he gets into too many heavy trades early on, is going to struggle to keep enough mana up to keep queuing. So I think the lane probably is slightly favored in the early game to Birmingham's Renekton. But having said that, Warwick is an absolute monster late game, so if they manage to get there, it's going to be pretty scary.
Yeah, I think one interesting thing to point out is that you've got Leona's going to use her ultimate to try and lock down someone. And I can imagine what the idea behind Birmingham's composition is that Gragas is going to throw his ultimate, his exploding cask, into a team fight, into a group of Fragsoc, and when they've all been scattered across the battlefield, it will be Synergy's job on Kha'Zix, using the isolated fear damage to try and target out those people who have been knocked out of kind of the protection of their allies. I think that seems to be the idea that they're going for at the moment with kind of the Kha'Zix and Gragas picks.
I agree that that's probably what they're going for, but it's interesting because if you look at Fragsoc's team, if they get split up by the Gragas ultimate, they actually have a number of ways of regrouping. Because Vi can get across a large chunk of the battlefield. She doesn't really want to be with her team. She's more of the dive-in kind of person anyway, unless she's ulting the Kazakhs. The Warwick similarly can jump a great distance with his ultimate, and Thresh can pull someone to him with his lantern. So they've actually got a decent defense against all being separated like that. But, having said that, Gragas is a really good pick still, I think, and, it's obviously, if people are using all their utilities to get together, then Leona can land a big ult on top of them, and, they don't want that either, so it's kind of a no-win situation for Fragsoc.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see how much Synergy uses the Kazakhs in the very early game, kind of pre everyone else getting to level 6. Because, of course, as soon as Vi hits level 6, that's when she starts to look ganking lanes because, as I said, her ultimate is so potent. Whereas Kazakhs, he doesn't necessarily have to rely on his ultimate to cloak and get into the lane and surprise people. He can gank kind of level 2, level 3, and potentially get a kill. So it'll be interesting to see whether he tries to kind of focus on the lane very early compared to the thing is Tough's Vi.
Yeah, there's potential for Kazakhs to get off some nice early ganks, especially with the backup CC from Renekton and Leona. They can set him up for a gank really nicely. He could also focus on counter jungling though. Kazakhs is a really good duelist in early game counter jungling, and although Vi is good as well, I think Kazakhs probably has a slight edge in that matchup. So he's got some options available to him depending on what he wants to go for.
Yeah. So I mean, what team composition do you think has a better late game at the moment? Like I'm talking kind of post 30-minute mark.
I think it's really difficult to say because both teams have kind of a few late game all-stars. Gragas and Kazakhs are both really good late game. And then on Fragsoc's side, you've got Warwick, Orianna. They're both really good. But on both sides, you have, at least a hero who's not great in the late game. Ezreal is weaker than Lucian, and the Renekton is definitely weaker than Warwick. So I actually think it's very even. It's going to be... I think I might give the edge to Birmingham, because Kazakhs could hopefully pick someone off even in the late game, whereas it's a bit harder for Fragsoc's team to burst someone down if they catch them out and about. And if they manage to pick someone off, 4v5ing late game is a lot harder than it is earlier in the game with, a turret to back you up or something like that. So I think the edge probably goes to Birmingham, but it's a very slight edge. There's two evenly matched teams, really.
Yeah, so... Okay, talked about the late game. What do you think is going to happen in the early game? Do you think we're going to have any level 1 invades? I mean, I think with both compositions, it's relative... I think it's slightly in Fragsoc's favour, because you have the Thresh hook, which I think is a bit more potent than Leona's dash in with her sword. And I also think Orianna, she'll have a bit of AoE if she wants to. Gragas... Oh, sorry, not Gragas. I think Vi will have a bit of AoE if she levels up her punch first. So, which team, if any, do you think are gonna go for a level 1 invade?
I think probably Fragsoc would be more likely, because even though they have a little bit less CC, in an extended fight, Orianna and Ezreal are pretty good in the early game because they have very spammable damage abilities. And in terms of the mobility available on Birmingham's side to sort of get away from it, it's unlikely that any of them want to level it first. If Fragsoc go in, they might force them to level it first, but it's not a situation where, they want to take it. So they might be able to force out, a flash or one of the mobility spells from Birmingham's side. But again, it's pretty even because, as I mentioned before, Birmingham actually have better crowd control for a level 1 fight. So if they catch someone out and they're not grouped together, then they could potentially kill someone before they have a chance to react.
Yeah, and also just a completely trivial note to point out is that it was a draw in the Battle of the Skins there. Both teams have 2 different skins on their champions.
Alright, well, we're going to get into Game 1 of Week 1 of the third tournament of the Newell for this season. And the teams fighting it out on the Rift are Birmingham University and Fragsoc from the University of York.
Yeah, I think interesting thing to point out is that both supports have started off with the Doran's Shield, which does tend to be the more traditional start now, especially at the highest scene. We do have a pause coming out. I do think it's for MT Blue Bear, who hasn't bought any items yet, so he might just be having a problem joining the game.
Oh, it's unpaused pretty much straight away, so not too much of an issue, I guess.
Yep, he's buying items now, so he's in the game. Does seem to be that both teams are kind of spreading out along the river, not wanting to invade. I think there's just going to be a standoff. I don't think too much is going to happen here.
Yeah, I would agree. I think, as I said, both teams have a decent enough level 1 that neither of them is really wanting to force the issue and see who can outplay each other, or who can catch someone first, so it's probably good. Both teams are also probably nervous as it's the first game of the tournament. No one wants to mess up really early on, so I wouldn't expect to see too much crazy stuff going on this early.
Yeah, that's true. I think also interesting to note as well is that every single player has gone for the warding totem as their free trinket. Sometimes you usually see kind of the jungler who'll pick up the sweeping lens, but all of them have picked up that, and we are having another pause. Not quite sure. I think it's come from... Yeah, it's come from Birmingham again.
Maybe if you could message one of the players and see what's going on.
Yeah, I think they're just... One of them is just resetting a router. Obviously, this is one of the problems, riot servers and all that, and then just student internet can usually be a problem.
Yeah, definitely. I feel that pain. When I moved up to my new flat, we had something that basically equated to dial-up. It was truly atrocious.
So, in terms of the lanes, which lane do you think is most likely to receive a gank on either team first? Because for me, I think that the top lane is just going to be left on its own. It's just going to be a farm-heavy lane. Warwick's got a huge amount of sustain and can just stay under his tower all day, life-stealing up. Pretty much the same with Renekton as well. If you can see in the mini-map as well that it doesn't look as if there's going to be any particular lane swap, so we'll have the AD and support down the bottom, and Renekton and Warwick up top. So which lane is going to get a gank first?
I think it would either be top or bottom. Although top lane is pretty sustainy, Renekton has a good amount of burst early on, and he has some hard CC in his stun. So there's a little bit of potential for something there. Kha'Zix brings enough damage to the table that Renekton doesn't necessarily have to be a damage monster there. And bot lane, both sides have some decent early game CC. Around level 2 you could see, fights that would actually result in a kill. So if the jungler comes down, from 2 onwards, I could see either side getting a kill if it was played correctly. So yeah, definitely the top or the bottom lane. Mid lane, neither one of the mid laners has significant enough CC that they will be able to give Vi or Kha'Zix a chance to get on the opponent, unless one of them sort of pushes up too far, in which case you could see a reactive gank. But that wouldn't be in their minds, this early in the game when they're planning it out.
Yeah, I suppose. I mean, for Birmingham's synergy on Kha'Zix jungle, I think that he's most likely going to... For me, I think he's either going to look to gank top lane or middle lane, because apart from the flashes that both Warwick and Orianna have taken, they don't really have any kind of leap away to try and escape. Warwick, if he's managed to get one of them down to 50% HP, he'll have that speed increase, and so he might be able to run away. Orianna, she can give herself a small speed boost, but they don't have any real kind of gap creator. Whereas Ezreal is able to get away, Thresh can get away. Whereas if I'm on Fragsoc's side and I'm Vi and I'm trying to gank, I think, Gragas in mid lane, he's going to be able to dive away. Lucian, he can dash away, and Renekton, he can also dash away. So I think Vi's going to have a harder choice in making which lane to gank first. It will be a case of who's going to be pushing up first, I think.
Yeah, one thing to note is that Thresh as a champion actually has quite low base armor. If you look at his base armor, it's around 31 compared to Leona's 45. Or not base, but their starting armor, including their masteries and stuff. So because Kha'Zix is physical damage, they can actually burst him quite quickly. Surprisingly quickly. One of the strategies for a lot of bot lanes that are fighting against a Thresh is to burst the Thresh because of his low armor. So you could see that come into play here. Kha'Zix has a nice edge there.
Yeah, I suppose that is an advantage. We do see Demon Squirrel being caught out a bit there, but it does seem as if Birmingham are going to try and push out this bot lane as quickly as possible, which is an interesting tactic. But I suppose with the Leona CC, they feel that they have the strength to do so.
Yeah, definitely. They might be looking to get an early level 2 and fight, because as I said, the Thresh is a little bit squishy to begin with. That could be one tactic they're going for. Alternatively, they just wanted to push the advantage that they had from not needing to give Kha'Zix a leash on red. Because the bot lane for Fragsoc actually had to go give their jungler some help, so...
I mean, possibly in their mind as well. They did see, when they were all kind of standing in the river, they did see that Vi was bot lane, and they probably assumed that she was going to go for a blue first. And because Vi can't really gank pre-level 6, exceptionally hard for her to do so, might possibly get a Thresh Lantern or something for a pre-level 6 gank. But Birmingham probably assumed that she was going to go to a blue buff, then go up to the red buff, and then maybe kind of farm around. But they knew that she wasn't going to be around bot lane, so they probably felt a bit more safer in pushing up that lane.
Yeah, that definitely factored into it as well, and, you know, overall it's led to probably a slight EXP lead for Birmingham, but nothing too substantial. Nothing that Fragsoc can't work around.
No, I mean, at the moment, it does seem that all lanes are fairly even, although we do see Synergy going rather deep in Fragsoc's jungle to try and take some of those creep camps away.
Yeah, this is what I was saying. Kha'Zix is a really good counter jungler. His leap is great for getting away. His isolation damage means that if he wants to take like the white, he can do that really fast. It's just a solid counter jungler that can also fight if Vi appears.
One of the problems here, though, is that Vi is coming back down, and if Kha'Zix isn't too careful, he could get caught out. No, he's just ran away. He's been perfectly safe, but because he placed a ward down in the jungle, he knows exactly where that Vi is. And the thing is tough on his Vi is just seeing, oh, my wolf camp has been taken away from me. How did that happen?
Yep, and his white camp as well. So Kha'Zix building himself a nice early game advantage against the Vi. Oh, and it's coming for a gank mid.
Nick's tough.
Nick got pushed really low. Kha'Zix goes in for the final leap, and she is down. Although here comes Vi for the counter gank. Gragas actually blocks the Vault Breaker, which stops Synergy from falling. So that was nice play from Xrift there. Bot lane, Leona's going in. They're actually putting a lot of damage onto Demon Squirrel's Thresh. And Leona gets hooked, but they can't follow it up.
No, just not quite into turret range. You do see Kuznia. It seems that Birmingham is trying to push up both the top and bot lane. I think Renekton does have a tiny bit easier time farming, but Warwick just has such good sustain, I don't think it should bother him too much.
Vi's coming bot for a gank here. Blue Bear, oh, nice flash to dodge the hook from Demon Squirrel, and they're going to get away safely from that.
Yeah, I imagine they're just back from this, and it'll be interesting to see what items they first go for. Whether Leona is going to buy that gold item first, or whether they try and push straight for the Sightstone to try and see those ganks from Vi coming from a mile off.
Yeah, I'm interested to see if this Lucian is going to go for the early Triforce build that I've been seeing a lot in the solo queue, or if he's going to go for something more traditional. So far, it seems like he just wants to keep on the early pressure with 2 Doran's Blades.
Yeah, I think it was interesting to see that Leona went for boots and some stealth wards and vision wards. Not very often you see a support going for boots as one of their first items.
Yeah, I think the logic might be that she's a bit afraid of the Vi ganks and she wants to be able to run away a bit faster. Or it could be that they want to engage more easily, and Leona landing a nice Zenith Blade onto Ezreal there just for some easy harass. Thresh was a bit too far away to actually return damage there, so that was a really good trade for Birmingham.
Yeah, I always think that Synergy's going to go in on...
Oh, Gragas misses his explosive cask. Wow, Demon Squirrel getting harassed under the tower by Leona, who gets taken to like 20% health.
Yeah, that was a bit of a risky play there. I think the thing was was Gragas's ultimate. When Gragas tries to maybe roam into other lanes and get a few ganks later on, or even in team fights, it really can be a 50-50 as to how successful the gank is. Because if the person manages to flash or has a bit of a dodge away, you can either completely nullify a team fight because you've blown the enemy away from you, or sometimes you'll blow them towards you, which is what you want. So it really is kind of a bit of a risky ultimate a lot of the time, but you'd expect at this sort of level, these are exceedingly skillful players.
Oh, Synergy is going to catch Nick here. That leap isn't very long distance, though. Oh, couldn't quite get the lantern. That was
not enough
brutal.
time.
And she's getting picked on here, I have to say. But she's doing good at keeping up the CS. She's only 6, or, well, a bit more than 6 behind Gragas.
Yeah, I think Nick T.S. Or Nick T. Smith W. I'm just going to refer to him as Nick on Oriana, just for sake of clarity. I think he's going to have a really tough game this game because Synergy and X Rift are focusing on him hard. Yeah,
definitely. I would not want to be in his shoes right now.
No, you see on top lane that Kuznets is just trying to bully out that lane. Looks as if he's going to try and roam down to look at the red buff, but
looks like they're going for a 3-man invade on this red buff actually.
Oh,
Zenith Blade onto the Ezreal in bot lane, gets ignited, falls pretty low, but Vi is getting taken down and up towards the top lane. Renekton manages to finish that up. Warwick wasn't able to come there, or Oriana, in time to get the help that he needed. And it looks like bot lane, Birmingham's doing a really good job at keeping the Ezreal zoned out from the creeps.
At the moment, I think it would be hard to make a case that Fragsoc are winning any of their lanes at the moment.
Definitely, I mean, even the Renekton who, I mean, even before he had that kill, hadn't received any help, is pretty far ahead in CS from the Warwick. I mean, that said, Renekton is a very strong early game hero compared to Warwick, but, when you're losing all of your lanes, you need one to start to win.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting. For Warwick, kind of the first item that he's gone for is a glacial shroud, which isn't. I don't see that too often as a first item to get on Warwick.
It used to be more common than it is now. It gives cooldown reduction, which is really good, and the armor against a Renekton is spectacular. Also, if Kha'Zix ever decides to gank, having that armor is going to be really useful, so I can't say it's the most surprising item. In fact, also, the mana, Warwick has serious mana issues in the early game, so keeping his sustain up through that item.
Yeah, so at the moment it's currently 3 kills to nothing for Birmingham. Only got about a 2k gold lead at the moment, but 10 minutes in, that's still quite significant.
Looks like Vi might be coming in soon bot lane. Just staying in range of the Thresh Lantern. Can close probably about a screen's worth of distance with the ultimate plus Thresh Lantern, so I think Kha'Zix, I think they might be aware that Vi's near bottom. Yeah, that ward sees it, so Kha'Zix is sticking around there for the counter gank.
Yeah, we do see Dragon Fight going on. It would be interesting to see whether. Oh,
very close Zenith Blade.
Just misses out on that Zenith Blade.
Yeah, that was a close one. Birmingham do a good job there managing to secure the first Baron, and they've got a really nice gold lead so far. Especially considering how early in the game they are.
Yeah, I think had it been kind of 3 kills each or no kills each so far, I think Fragsoc might have maybe been a bit tempted to try and challenge that, but I think they realise that they are behind at the moment in kills and gold, and I think confidence as well, really.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm sure coming into this game they were at least a bit afraid of Birmingham, given that they're number 2 in the season, so they might be struggling with their nerves a little bit.
Yeah, I think this certainly is a strong showing. I mean, if anything, I think the case is made that you've got to ban out Kha'Zix for Synergy because he's just been so strong at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, even if it wasn't for the fact that it was one of Synergy's signature heroes, Kha'Zix is just really strong in general right now. Um, you know, he's not played as much in the LCS as he is in solo queue, but these aren't quite LCS players, so they got to be a little bit afraid of the solo queue picks.
True, but I mean, we have, you know, if anyone watches the EU LCS, Alex Ich, he's
Oh, Leona ultimate onto Ezreal and Thresh, Zenith Blade onto Thresh, and that, to be honest, was pretty risky. Lucian nearly died, and Thresh is gonna get away. The last stick Ignite doesn't kill him. That's unfortunate for Birmingham, but at least they didn't lose someone. They were really close to losing both Lucian and Ezreal, and Renekton going balls deep onto the work and manages to pick up a kill solo.
Yeah, Kuznia's completely won that lane, and now that turret should be going down pretty soon. I think in that that 3v2 fight down bottom, Thresh managing to escape with 20 HP, but it's a really skillful dash by Lucian there to miss out on the Ezreal ultimate, because I think if that had hit him as well, that might have turned the
He would definitely have fallen. He would definitely have fallen, and if he died, that would have been really brutal, you know, losing a 3v2 like that.
Yeah, I think that Fragsoc are going to have to find a way to deal with this Renekton.
Look at Gragas and Synergy here. They know his blue's up. Oh, they're backing off, though.
Yeah, they're not going to risk it. But I think at the moment, Vi's going to have to kind of babysit top of the moon, because the hench can't deal with Kuznia's Renekton.
Oh, wow. Got a nice hook onto the Kha'Zix there, but decided not to go in. I didn't manage to see... No, he didn't actually manage to get the steal with his ultimate, so Nick manages to pick up his first blue of the game.
And I'll keep talking through. There's not too much action going on at the moment. Synergy's Kha'Zix is just giving the blue over to Gragas at the moment. And Renekton and Warwick are just farming up on top lane.
Yeah, sorry about that, guys. I don't know why my stream died there. Nothing else did, so... But hopefully everyone's able to get back into the stream quickly. And Renekton's coming for Vi here. She's on half health before the fight even begins, but manages to dash away without too much trouble.
Yeah, I think Kuznia is going to be a real problem. If Fragsoc don't deal with him in the next few minutes, I don't see how they're going to turn this around. I mean, what other things can Fragsoc do to start winning in fights?
Well, I think probably the easiest lane for them to gank would be bot lane, because Thresh and Ezreal aren't terribly far behind. Although, having said that, looks like the Lucian... Oh, he might have over... Oh my god.
Oh dear. That
was overconfidence. Oh man. I cannot believe this has happened. Although Kha'Zix managing to finish up the remaining two people. Oh my god, this is the most action-packed fight I have seen in a long time. Vi coming in, ulting as a counter gank.
He can't escape.
I don't know, he's pretty close to getting away there. Oh no, if she dies under the tower.
He didn't. He did.
Oh my god. I was at a loss for words during that entire exchange. There were so many ballsy plays and overconfidence from everyone.
Oh, that's
wow.
Really in the highlight reel. That was... Yeah, I did not expect Synergy to escape from that. That was exceptionally well played by him.
I cannot believe that happened. That was insane.
But really, it was overconfident play by MT Bluebear and Senji Senpai, getting caught out underneath the turret. They didn't quite have enough damage to finish off that kill on their own, but Kha'Zix knew that the fight was going on. They obviously communicated with Synergy. He came in and swept up both those kills. Vi was there to try and get back on Kha'Zix, but underestimated how strong.
Zenith played into Ezreal. Ezreal already on half health, but managing to arcane shift away. Thresh missing his hook and hitting a minion with it. So.
Yeah, they're not gonna go in deep again. Kha'Zix isn't quite near enough by.
Yeah, I would like to think
down.
that they learnt their lesson there, but we'll have to see.
Oh, they've seen him come in. They're gonna have to run away from this.
Kha'Zix jumping in still, nearly bursting down the Ezreal there. If he managed to land a W, that would have been a kill. And, oh, the cancel TP baiting out the Leona ultimate. That.
an exceptionally well timed cancel.
Oh wow.
If the hench had gone into that, he would have been a dead wolf instantly.
Yeah, that was. Oh, that was funny. I'm not sure if it was worth the half cooldown on TP to get the ultimate out of Leona there, but Leona jumping on. Oh, that he was just deleted from the map before I even had the chance to say what abilities were used.
Yeah, a bit of a wasted explosive cask by Gragas there, but I don't think they'll be too worried about that.
Yeah, Kha'Zix could get caught out here. I think they know he's there. 3 people surrounding him. He is instantly dead. But Orianna did have to use her ult, which means that if they need to defend the middle tower from a push here, they don't have quite as much available to them. But I think, Lucian went back, so they won't be pushing the middle tower right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's important to note that on Fragsoc's team, Orianna has some... she has above average wave clear for most champions. You know, she has the AoE. Ezreal has his ultimate to wave clear. But other than that, I think it'd be quite easy to siege out this Fragsoc team.
Yeah, I mean, they've got good hard initiate to break through a siege, because Vi and Warwick can just say, look, we're tired of you hitting our tower, we're going in, and close a huge distance. But at the same time, because Birmingham have Gragas, they can just ult the 2 initiators away, and then retreat and come back later for more siege. So it's kind of reliant on timing and making sure that they go in at the right time and coordinate it well. But Birmingham pushing down the middle outer turret here in a pretty commanding lead so far.
Yeah, 4-man push.
And Renekton going in. Leona misses the ultimate Orianna, but Vi instantly falls. Far too much damage and no way to get away. Her Vault Breaker cancelled. Warwick goes in and what? That was pretty risky. I mean,
5-man shockwave there. Not enough damage though.
Yeah, I mean, if they had another person there to follow up, that could have resulted in a kill or 2 for Fragsoc. But I think, although it looked like a really good opportunity, it wasn't as good as they thought it was, and now those ultimates are down.
Yeah, I think, Birmingham are going to have to run away from this. A lot of the run.
Thresh just ultimated nothing.
I think it might have been a bit preemptive. We're thinking about going in, but yeah, there does seem a little bit of a waste there.
Yeah, I mean, that could be the nerves again, as we were talking about before. I mean, sort of misclicking or something like that. They could be stressed out.
Yeah, important thing to note as well is that Birmingham has so many wards in Fragsoc's jungle. They don't have any wards in their own jungle, simply because they don't need to. They haven't been pushed at all. They did lose their bottom turret whilst they were pushing through that mid lane. But yeah, it's currently 4 turrets to 1 in favour of Birmingham.
Warwick could actually do some decent damage to the Renekton here. Oh, Crackass! Oh, I am loving this. And it looks like trying to edge in some damage on the outer turret and mid to make sure they can take it down when an opportunity arises, but nothing too substantial.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what Fragsoc are thinking about it, because I mean, they can't really win team fight at the moment. They can't be left to split push, because if they let one person go and split push on their own...
Oh, Ezreal might get caught here. Oh, good arcane shift away.
Yeah, good shift away. But they can't send someone to go and split push, because if they do send someone to split push, Birmingham will send synergy after on Kha'Zix. Yeah, the isolate fear damage, and Kha'Zix can one-on-one anyone on Fragsoc's team at the moment.
I think the thing is, Fragsoc can teamfight if and only if they hit an amazing Orianna ultimate, like the one she just hit, but they have the backup for it, which they did not have last time.
Yeah, they need to have that ball delivery system and just get that perfect engage. I mean, they're only 6 kills down, but it's about 7k difference, and 21 minutes in, that's rather substantial.
Yeah, it's interesting to see here that Birmingham are going for a 4-man push on bottom without Renekton having any way of getting there particularly fast. Oh man! Lucian almost instantly dies here. He's probably gonna fall. He's life stealing for the... Oh man! Finally falls. And Kha'Zix jumping on the backline. Oh, Nick got instantly killed at the end of that fight. And this is what I'm saying, you know, if they don't have the backup to instantly kill someone, it's not gonna go okay.
Yeah, they can't win their 4-on-4s. They're not going to win a 5-on-5 at the moment. It's not looking good for Fragsoc at the moment.
I think they could win a 5-on-5, because the thing is, if Vi had been in that fight, she might have been able to kill the Lucian fast enough.
Kuzni's going in deep.
Oh wow, diving the tier 3 tower.
He knew that they were starting to respawn, and he wasn't going to risk it just for that.
They're just doing some pretty ballsy plays, though. They know they're pretty far ahead. But yeah, if Vi had been there for that fight, it's definitely possible that they would have killed Lucian before he was able to dash and flash away. Which might have made the difference. He did do a decent amount of damage before he died. But having said that, you know, that's still going to be a lot of your most potent abilities on one guy.
Yeah, if Vi had been down in that fight and it was a 5-on-4, I think they probably would have won that. But if they had, they might have won that fight, but they would have lost that top tower because Kuzni would have just pushed it down with Renekton.
Yeah, maybe even 2. I mean, you can't say for certain how fast he would have been able to push. And if Fragsoc had lost, let's say, 3 members in exchange for Birmingham's 5, then they might not have even been able to defend fast enough against Renekton. And Birmingham here just had the Dragon Timer instantly kill it.
Yeah, Fragsoc just haven't had I think the very first dragon they had a chance to potentially challenge it, and then after that they just haven't seen that dragon at all.
Ezreal, yeah, he's safe. Ezreal's got a lot of distance he can cover with the Lantern plus his Arcane Shift.
Yeah, interesting to note, Ezreal's first item he went for the Triforce, whereas Lucian he went for that Bloodthirster and is now building towards the Triforce, it looks like.
Yeah, they've...
Oh, I think the Hench is going to be in some real trouble here.
Yeah, Kha'Zix and Gragas are coming up, and they've got a long distance covered here, so he's going to need to do some flashy plays to get away here. Oh, man!
What an exploding
Both of them landed their bursts at the same time. Just no chance there, really.
Yeah, that was brilliant communication. Kuzni knew that he was drawing that Warwick out of lane. He had no protection of turrets. His team wasn't anywhere near. He was a dead man, and this turret's now going to go down.
If Fragsoc are going to win this, they're going to need to pull out something incredible. And I'm not sure.
They're going to have to extend this to at least another 20 minutes or something. Stay in their base, farm up. But as I was saying, they don't have really good wave clear. They've got the Orianna and they've got the Ezreal ult. And that's it. So they're going to have a real tough time now. I don't see how they're going to get back for this.
Warwick used his flash when trying to get away from that gank top lane as well, even though there was no chance. And that means that if they want to fight for Baron, for example, or if they catch someone out, he's a little bit less able to make a pick than normal. Oh! Lucian gets caught out here, though. Vi ults onto him, and he's a goner. There's no chance. Manages to do a significant amount of damage to that Ezreal before he falls, though.
Yeah, even with all that CC, he manages to get Chubby Monkey down to 50% HP, so I think, really, that tells Fragsoc, if you don't take... Well, the problem is, if they don't take Lucian out of the fight straight away, he's going to pump out so much damage. If they don't take Kha'Zix out of the fight, he's going to do so much damage, and then Gragas is going to be able to pump out a lot of burst damage, and then if you just leave Renekton in the fight, when he pops his Dominus, he's going to be doing so much AoE damage to the entire team when he gets in there. I'm not sure who Fragsoc should target down first in a team fight.
Yeah, definitely. And oh, Kha'Zix going in here, pretty ballsy. Oh, Leona manages to miss her Zenith Blade. Kha'Zix using his ultimate to try and stay away from the suppresses. Oh, Ezreal, no! Instantly killed there. Vi and oh, X-Rift blocks the Vault Breaker through the wall. Great play from Gragas there. And oh man, just standing on top of the lantern so he can't click on it. That was pretty brutal for Fragsoc. I don't know, this is looking really, really hard for them.
Yeah, and by the way, guys, if you want to contact us, do get in touch in the Twitch chat, and also tweet us at the Newell. We will read your tweets later on this evening.
I have to say, so far it's looking like Synergy is going to be the MVP of this game for me. Just 9 for 1 for 3, dominant Kha'Zix play. And as you said, getting one of his signature heroes to enable that.
Yeah, if I were KVGS Kittens right now, I'd be thinking, ban out Kha'Zix. Oh, they're looking to bait a Baron fight.
Oh, Warwick gets caught, instantly falls down pretty much. ultimate keeping him alive for a little bit longer, but
Demon's
Thresh
Fury
followed up
well.
on, ultimate onto Vi, Leona ultimate onto Vi, Kha'Zix jumping in. Oh, that was a good Orianna ultimate to keep him off of, you know, her and Ezreal, but
It was a good defensive one, and that
Yeah.
kind of pulled them away from the fight a bit, but it just didn't do enough damage really for me.
yeah, I feel like if she'd managed to get it off when the Warwick got jumped on, and all 5 members of Birmingham had been sort of stood together because they were trying to trap, that would have been a little bit more ideal, but obviously, you know, positioning-wise, she had to be afraid of a Gragas or Leona ultimate, so it's difficult. And Birmingham are so far ahead, they're just tanking up the bot tower, although Bluebear probably shouldn't be the one to tank that. Orianna, wow, had to use Barrier and Flash there. This overconfidence from Bluebear is a recurring thing.
Yeah, they have to run away. The problem is, if you've got a Warwick on the opposing team and you're under 50% health, he's going to be able to chase you
See,
down.
I feel like Fragsoc here, they knew that they were running bot. Instead, they could have rushed for a Baron, maybe. That might have been the better play here for Fragsoc to make. Desperation Barons are good when you're this far behind, and they... Oh, Warwick managing to get onto Bluebear. Leona ultimate goes onto him, though,
I
and
don't think he's going to be able to
I
get the kill.
don't think he's going to be able to finish this one off. There's too much support from Birmingham. Warwick, what are you doing? If he manages to get away, that'd be pretty impressive. He's moving very fast.
Yeah, they told
Birmingham
Lucian
needs to send back their people so that he's not getting the speed boost anymore.
Oh,
Oh,
boys.
wow. You know, what? The only reason he got away there is Birmingham decided to base instead of running back, which meant that they were closer for his on the hunt passive. If he'd not had that speed boost, he would not have gotten away.
Yeah, I don't. Around Baron. I mean, Kuznets pushing at that top lane. It's. Yeah, I think Birmingham's just going to force a fight at Baron because they know that they can win the team fights there, and the fact that they will have their mid lane pushing, and their top lane is currently pushing at the moment, and Warwick's down at bot lane.
Yeah, this looks like it's going to be a very easy Baron for Birmingham. There's no contest here, really.
Yeah, Fragsoc just don't have the ward coverage whatsoever.
Even if they did, I'm not entirely convinced they could fight this. I think they need a turret backing them up. They need that 6th player.
At the moment, I'd argue that they probably need a 7th player.
You might be right. Maybe they need to bring a turret into the Baron pit and then have the Baron aggro on to Birmingham.
Yeah, I mean, 15k gold lead now. It's really not looking good. If anything, the situation's just gone from bad to worse.
Yeah, definitely. And Orianna missing her wave clear doesn't help with the siege.
Oh, I mean, this is the problem I said. They're not able to clear waves fast. And
Renekton just diving in. Vi managing to dive onto the Lucian,
Oh, wow.
but wow, Thresh just gets bursted down. The Orianna gets bursted down. Kha'Zix is just doing serious work. And, you know, even though Vi was able to temporarily get onto the Lucian, it just didn't matter. Although that was a nice pickup from Ezreal, I'm not entirely convinced it's going to make the difference here.
Yeah, that just managed to skim the Kha'Zix. But I mean, as I was saying in Champ Select, is that they were probably going to look for Gragas to use his ultimate, separate out Fragsoc, and then for Kha'Zix to go in and pick out those individual targets. And that's
Wow.
exactly what happened there.
Oh, empty Bluebear, no! Oh man, most unnecessary deaths in a game go to empty Bluebear.
Oh.
Although,
Oh,
are they going to be able to
like-
defend this? Wow, I think they might actually be able to defend this for just long enough, but they might just be delaying the inevitable end here. The ultimate onto Gragas.
Yep, slam dunks the Gragas, but Renekton the only one left alive here, but he should be. Oh no, they're gonna go after him.
You know,
they don't want him to have the Baron buff.
I wouldn't be surprised if he was too tanky for them to finish him off here. He's an absolute monster right now.
I think he can get away.
506, 300
Oh, no,
CS.
Warwick's now got that speed boost.
Yeah, but Kha'Zix is here to back him up now, and just look at Vi instantly melt! Manages to flash away from the leap, though, which is the only reason she isn't dead.
Yeah, problem is now they've got super minions on top lane, they've got super minions on middle.
They've got the super minions in the middle lane, but the inhibitor has respawned, so there's only going to be like a wave of them. But even still, it's looking really rough. Kha'Zix's Q did like 30% of that dragon's health.
Yeah, I think Birmingham. Yeah, they're gonna pick up Fragsoc's blue buff, and I'd suggest that they go for their red buff as well. I mean, they might as well. They're not going to be challenged for it. Go for this middle inhibitor, and then just wait for the super minions to roll in and finish off this game.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't know what Fragsoc could do here. I've actually recovered games from this position, but it's solo queue, you know? Actually, Synergy got a little bit aggressive there. Got taken very low before his team actually backed him up, and all 5 members of Fragsoc managing to get away from this engage means that they could potentially re-engage with Home Guard. But the Nexus is being attacked. They need to do it fast if they're going to do it. Synergy getting picked off towards the bottom. Looks like Warwick's actually retreating from Synergy. Synergy managed to pick him off, and yeah, Gragas just...
That's going to be a game.
Yeah, that's game. That's all over. Congratulations to Birmingham picking up the first win in Group B of this tournament.
Yep, that was an impressive game there with a 20k gold lead towards the end there. 10 turrets to 2 turrets and 26 kills to 8. With Synergy's Kha'Zix going 12, 2 and 7. Exceptionally impressive stuff. And also for Kuznia on Renekton, who went 5, 0 and 9. He did not die once on that. Completely bullied out his lane. Had over 100 CS advantage by the end of the game. I mean, 300 CS is pretty good going at this level, especially when you are in a farm-heavy lane as well.
Yeah, I mean, that was really impressive play all across Birmingham's side, I think. And I was... one little thing that I just really thought was nice was Gragas blocking like 3 Vault Breakers that game. 3 crucial Vault Breakers. It was nice.
Yeah, I mean, just looking at some of the statistics, kind of the damage dealt to champions. Gragas, Kha'Zix, Lucian, and Renekton all did more damage to enemy champions than anyone on Fragsoc's team. So yeah, they just completely steamrolled. As I said, they seem to be winning all of their lanes quite early. But if I was going to pinpoint any like one losing moment, it seemed to be that very first gank on mid lane, where Synergy managed to gank Orianna, and from then it just seemed to get worse and worse for Fragsoc.
Yeah, Kha'Zix got a nice edge there, and was able to use it to invade the jungle. He got that pick on Orianna heading to blue buff later on because he already had that kind of lead. And he took that lead with him to the other lanes as well. I mean, he didn't actually need to spend much of his time top. Kuznir was doing a really good job top lane, just winning the lane by himself. But bottom lane, I think Synergy was definitely needed there, given the overconfidence of Empty Bluebear and Shinji Senpai.
Yeah, but I mean, really, I don't want to say I feel bad for Fragsoc. I mean, I do. They lost, and it's always kind of heartbreaking when you have that. But I mean, they didn't really they still had quite a strong team composition. I just think that it was really down to Synergy. I suppose you have to give the MVP of that match to Synergy and his Kha'Zix, because he won out the early and mid game, and from then the rest of his team could snowball. But Kuznir as well, he completely bullied out his lane, and I think it's the fact that Fragsoc, they chose that Warwick as their first pick. They said, right, we want to have Warwick on top lane. That is definitely what we want to have, and Renekton just really countered it, and it just wasn't that impressive.
They also said we want to have Ezreal, which I'm still a little bit surprised by. You know, he had very good farm, but aside from that, didn't really accomplish anything that game. And, you know, maybe it was because of Kha'Zix's presence in bot lane, but taking that Ezreal first, to me, means that you have to have some really good reason why you want the Ezreal, and it didn't seem like they did.
No, I have to agree with that as well. It'll be interesting to see how how. I mean, we're not going to be streaming Fragsoc's next game, but it'd be really interesting to see the result and see whether they bounce back from that defeat. Because I don't think they were necessarily outskilled there. I just think they were in kind of the wrong position at the wrong time, and that just led to a snowball.
Yeah, it was definitely a snowball thing. You know, all things equal, the team comps were not bad. You know, the Fragsoc team comp wasn't bad. They had a game plan going into it that could have worked, but they weren't able to execute on it because of the large goal differential that they had going into the team fight phase. So I'd look to see maybe Fragsoc's communication and synergy improving later on, because there were times when people were getting caught out in the jungle because people went missing, and you know that shouldn't be happening as easily as that necessarily. So definitely the thing that I would look to improve on if I was playing on Fragsoc would be making sure I have good enough vision and making sure that I communicate properly when someone is missing, because you know they may well have done that, we can't know for sure, but it seems strange that Oriana would, you know, die on the way to blue when they know that Gragas is missing. So there must have been something going on there that we weren't privy to.
Yeah, I mean, some of the incredible plays that came out there. I mean, we had that kind of that 2-on-2 fight down in the bot lane where Leona and Lucian went a bit too heavy onto tower, gave a double kill to Thresh, and then Kha'Zix just came in, got the double kill, and then just managed to escape from Vi. But I think those sort of really impressive plays, they were down to the communication of Birmingham, because they knew, Birmingham's bot lane knew that Kha'Zix was close enough and would be able to clean up any kills that they didn't happen to finish off. And again, on top lane towards the end of that match, Kuznia managed to drag out Warwick, bring him so far out of his base, none of Warwick's teammates were near him, and then Kuznia gave a shout out to Synergy and just said, "Hey guys, Warwick's completely out of position, come and finish him off for me," and that's what they did.
Yeah, I mean, there was some really nice communication from Birmingham this game, and I think it shows exactly why they're number 2 in the tournament right now, and it shows why they had an extremely good placing number two in the season, number 2, and also number 2 last tournament. You know, because they just seemed to be at the right place at the right time the entire game long, and that's down to their communication. You know, it was really well played.
Yeah, I mean, if that sort of kind of play style as well, I think if they'd come up against maybe one of the kind of challenger teams in the LCS, I think they would have held their own there, to be honest, with that sort of performance. And I'm not saying that kind of Fragsoc were a weak team. They're by no way a weak team. They managed to get promoted into the Super 8 after last tournament. But I just think Birmingham, they just have that slight edge, and whether that's down to the communication or maybe a tiny bit more kind of technical skill.
You've cut out a little bit there, Sadat.
Oh, my bad. But yes,